My name is Alex Gazmararian. I'm a political scientist at Princeton University, and along with Matto Mildenberger at UC Santa Barbara and Dustin Tingley at Harvard University, we've written a memo that explains what decades of public opinion research tell us about the landmark Inflation Reduction Act, the IRA. And public opinion matters for two reasons. First is that the public's preferences are an important input into elite beliefs about what the public wants, which shapes the incentives of leaders to pursue political reforms. The second reason is that the energy transition will require both community acceptance of new clean energy projects in their backyards, but also that members of the public make consumption choices aligned with decarbonization goals, like buying electric vehicles. Now, when it comes to the IRA, the bill's design overcame barriers that limited previous reform attempts. Primarily, the reformers maximized benefits and minimized costs. And past reforms have run up against the public's unwillingness to pay for the costs of policy, which is surprising because a majority, when surveyed, will generally say that climate policy is important. However, that support drops once the costs of the policy are made clear. Although people are sensitive to costs, they also want clean energy. The challenge that public opinion research finds is how to make energy both clean and cheap. Now, the IRA overcame these barriers by focusing on benefits. Instead of imposing costs on fossil fuel consumers or producers, the law focused primarily on creating benefits through investments that lower the cost of clean energy. And public opinion studies suggest that framing the clean energy transition in terms of benefits like jobs from building renewable energy can generate support, even among individuals in the public who are otherwise skeptical of climate policy. Yet there are three enduring public opinion challenges with the IRA. The first is what Dustin Tingley and I call local economic opportunity in our book, Uncertain Futures. This idea is that people may have different beliefs about whether the clean energy transition will make them better off than they were before. In our book, we present evidence from national, regional, and targeted surveys that reveal concerns about the local benefits of green industries that will be ushered in by the IRA. For example, only 40% of the national public thinks that jobs from wind and solar investments will go to mostly local workers. And that drops to 33% when it comes to people in rural Southwest Pennsylvania and the surrounding region, which is predominantly home to coal and other types of fossil fuels. Yet in the book, we also show how policy solutions like transparency around investment could lessen these worries. Now, a second enduring public opinion challenge with the IRA is durability. And what that means is whether the public perceives the benefits from the IRA from these investments as durable will matter for its implementation and continued support. In my book with Dustin Tingley, we show that governments face a considerable credibility challenge. We find that 71% of the public is uncertain that the government would keep its promises to invest in their communities. And one reason for this uncertainty stems from partisanship. The partisan passage of the IRA could create concerns that a future government will come in and reverse the gains. Of course, a partisan climate law is better than no climate law at all. However, we must be clear-eyed about the effects on public opinion. And what we find consistently in our book is that the public sees bipartisan laws as more durable, which uniquely leads to greater support for climate policy. Of course, other features of the IRA's design might be able to help counterbalance these concerns by making the law more durable in other respects. The last enduring public opinion challenge for the IRA that we discuss is credit claiming. And so the political logic of the IRA used the benefits from green investments to create allies. And the success of this approach may hinge on whether the public recognizes those benefits and then politicians receive an electoral reward. However, the public doesn't always recognize benefits from policies. In the context of the IRA, politicians should have incentives to try to claim credit. But the allocation of credit is always difficult. For example, Democrats who ushered through the law will want to take credit for their policy victory, but they may also need to share the credit with Republican governors who will be important for implementing the law in their states. Now, who the public ultimately rewards will shape the incentives of political leaders to either advance or forestall decarbonization. So in conclusion, public opinion is crucial for the clean energy transition. And part of the IRA's success is due to its attentiveness to public opinion dynamics, like sensitivity to costs. And whether its implementation is successful will also hinge on whether reformers continue to pay attention to the lessons of public opinion.